10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes. Is the sound all right? Because apparently YouTube have been having problems. Hopefully we're not. Fingers crossed. Somebody say something. Guys, everything good. Hi, Leslie. As always, even though let's pray to YouTube gods that they've sorted out their buffering issues. Seems all right, Baz. Thank you, Matt. Like to hear that. We'll get through all the spiel like we always do. I'm really sorry to do it, but we've got to do it because, you know, it might help, it might not. But please hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget about our amazing sponsor, Diacro. We will be doing the live draw tonight on the 10 o'clock show with Baz and John. And we've got Kayla joining as well, which is going to be very interesting. Baz20 code, link is in the description. Please buy one of these amazing T-shirts because they are amazing. Don't forget, Benfield have got a massive game on the 4th of November. Please get down there and support a local team. Absolute fantastic team. And don't forget to register your interest if you want one of these powdered coated badges. They're amazing. Great Christmas present if we can get them done before Christmas, but we need as much interest as possible first before we can do it. They cost a lot of money to make them, so we need to make sure we got people who want to buy them first. Because we have flogged these to death, to be completely honest with you. He asked me, do you want to do it again for Christmas? I was just like, oh, not really. But he's a nice lad, so I like to do things for people. I always try my best. Right, let's bring Gaz in. Evening, Gaz. Looking very dark.
Can you hear us?
I can, just.
I've got that new thing, and I'm still trying to work it out.
Brilliant.
That's why I'm a bit late.
I love it.
I'll get there.
I think you need a light as well. I think that would be a good thing to get.
Yeah. I'm just trying to sort the audio out and stuff like that. But I'll get there. If you can hear us, it's fine.
We can. It's like you're in the room, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've grasped YouTube up to bars already. Gary V. Yes, YouTube. Is it freezing? Damn it. We're going to try and get through it because I can't be bothered to pre-record a show, to be honest with you. I like it live. I like people to be able to get involved. So if it freezes or buffers, I do apologize. YouTube are having issues. We'll try and get through it as best as we can. So we're talking about the result yesterday. This is how we lined up. Everyone, I mean, we picked the team. We knew this was going to be the team. The bench was obviously very weak because of all the injuries. It was a strong side, though, but so was Wolves. So Sarsamiro, Kilman, Dawson, Totti, Nore, Lema, Toure. I thought Toure was going to be the big beefy Toure. It was a different one. Huang, Chang, and Neto. Again, I wasn't scared of their team. I thought our team was going to be strong enough, Gary. I mean, were you surprised at anyone in the lineup? I mean, the team kind of picked itself, didn't it?
No, I wasn't shocked at all. No, I wasn't shocked. So I expected team picks itself at the minute, to be honest. That was it, really. Wasn't shocked at all.
Yeah, it was just obviously all these injuries aren't fantastic for us, or a bit of a pain in the backside. But let's get into the action. Pissed it down. Again, that's not what we needed after Wednesday night when it absolutely lashed it down at St James's Park and obviously put more miles in the legs. And people will say it's the weather, the footballers, the professionals, but when it's that soggy and wet, it is harder to run it, and it does put extra miles in your legs. No complaints about the first goal for me. Wilson tucked it away nicely. It was their defender who fouled their goalkeeper. No complaints from you either, Gary. Do you see anything in it?
Nah, there's no in it. I immediately thought of all.
Yeah, I did as well.
So I didn't celebrate very much, but when I saw it, I thought, nah, that's balls up by the keeper, and he ran into his own defender, and I thought, no wrong with that.
Not wrong with that. All
simple
goal,
goal,
over his shoulder into the back of the net. I went nuts. Then I went, ooh, VAR. And then I was like, But yeah, everything seems to be fine with that, though. Sorry, I'm trying to fix somebody's bloody TV for them as well. It's an absolute nightmare. If anyone wants a login for IPTV or anything like that, please contact me. Probably shouldn't have said that, but there you go. But yeah, 1-0 up. I mean, we deserved to be 1-0 up as well, didn't we? I mean, Wolves, fair play to them. They did come at us. It was end to end. To-in and fro-in. Neto was brilliant. Who was the other lad on the left-hand side? Because he was quite good as well. Semedo at the back was good. He was quick. I didn't realize he was that fast either. 30-year-old. I was just like, Jesus, he's got a bit of pace about him. And they did what everyone does. They attacked the left-hand side, didn't they? They tried to go after Dan Burn, and you saw when Burn got burned at least twice, how good was Shaw, by the way, with his covering defending.
Yeah, they started on Burn, and then they worked out that wasn't working, and they went back to the right side. And it was same on Wednesday. I cannot believe I'm saying this at the minute, but our left side, I'm feeling more comfortable on my left side than my right side at this moment in time. It was a good start. I remember when I was thinking, I thought there was a few straight passes at times that frustrated us a bit. But yeah, it was a good start. Weather was crap. Wolves away is not easy, so definitely I was happy with the start. But obviously, it was a good finish. Good finish from Wilson, and we deserve to be 1-0 up. Yeah, and then it changed.
Then it changed. So, I mean, I was banging on. I can't remember what show it was on, but I was banging on. We haven't conceded a goal against a set piece. What the fuck happens? I opened my big mouth, commentator's curse, and they score from a corner. I mean, what was Trippier doing? It looked like he was watching the man more than he was watching the ball, and then he ended up running past it. For me, I think it was pretty poor from him. I mean, I'm not saying he had a bad game. I'm just thinking in that moment, the way he marked his man, he ran past the ball. He seemed to be more worried about what the man was doing than where the ball was. And I think if you were watching the ball more, he might have got in front of him and cleared that header.
You know what it is? I'm frustrated at the minute with Kieran Trippier badly because I know how good he is. I know he's one of the best fullbacks in the world. But I think he needs a rest, and I think yesterday showed how much of a break he needs. He got caught for the goal. I don't know what he was doing. And at times in that first half, his passing was shocking. And I've heard a few people say that the reason he's not on his game at the minute is because he did have Botman next to him, whereas he's got Lascelles now. That's true. That's not having to go at Lascelles because I think Lascelles is doing all right at the minute, but it just shows you how much Botman is a miss at the minute.
There was a lot of people saying that Trippier was afraid to pass to Lascelles.
Yeah, I've saw a few of them, and to be honest, I don't know what Trippier's passing yesterday was shocking. And
Well, let's have a look. I mean, not to his normal high standards, but still a 77% pass rate, 51 out of 66. He had 96 touches, 2 key passes in the game, big chances created, 1. 3 out of 7 long balls made it, 4 out of 9 crosses. But he was dribbled past 4 times, and he did get targeted a little bit. And
he did.
He gave away a few fouls, which was a bit unlike him. He only won 2 out of 10 ground duels, which is not like him. He lost possession 23 times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the big one is, isn't it? You can't be losing the ball 23 times. I always say if you lose the ball anything from 12 and under, you're having a good game.
Mm-hmm.
But to lose it 23 times for him, it's not a great game. But he's played nearly every minute, hasn't he, apart from the Man City game?
He needs a break. And I think what's frustrating me at the minute is right, I think a few of them need a break. I.e. Anthony Gordon looked knackered yesterday at times. I think he needs a break. But the problem we've got is there's no one to come in, is there? Yeah. Trippier's got a replacement who can come in and do a job. Now,
to be fair, I'll stop you very quickly there because Willock's back.
Yeah, but I'm at the stage with Willock at the minute that I didn't want to see him rush back because he did have a bad injury. You've got to be careful with hamstrings, i.e. Neto yesterday. And as much as
that was a very bad one, wasn't it?
As much as I felt sorry for him at the time, that changed the game because honestly, hamstring injuries are just bad.
Yeah, we'll come to that later.
You've got to be careful. You've got to be careful. But Trippier needs a break for me. I wouldn't start him on Wednesday. Absolutely no chance. He needs pulling out. I wouldn't even take him to Manchester. He'll go on the bench, but I would just leave him at home. Let him spend a couple of days with his family and get him ready for Arsenal. I think he needs a break, man. And it's we've got an able person to come in and Livramento. He can come in and do a job, and I think I think
he will start on Wednesday, especially after how good he was against Man City. But we'll talk about that later. Let's stick to the game. I'm just going to start a poll now for you guys. I won't be able to see it in StreamYard, but I've started it on YouTube. Who was your man of the match? And your options are Shaw, Bruno, and Wilson. And we'll come to that poll later on in the show. Yes, he needs a break. So obviously people are agreeing with you, and I do agree. I honestly think he'll start someone else on Wednesday, but we'll come to that later. Our person in general seemed to me to be really off. The number of times we had promising phases that ended up with us giving the ball back to them. I'll come and answer that later, Jim, because I've got a sort of a theory of why that happened, but we'll just stick with the action to start with. So we've got Wilson scores. They equalise with a header. Could have been avoided again. Could Pope have come for the corner and made it all the way to the back post?
I thought so at the time. But then I saw it again, and
it was quite a good cross, though, wasn't it? It was quite flat.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? I mean, we're not going on about the second goal yet, but when Nick Pope, you want him to come, he freaking doesn't. And when he, you know what I mean? He's just I remember when it came across, and I thought, where's the goalkeeper? That's one thing I thought. Then I watched the replay, and I thought,
yeah.
And Trippier needs to do better there. But
they said on commentary, and I think I saw it myself, Pope did start to come for the corner, then he went back.
And then he went back.
So was that the mistake that he made, that he didn't commit himself and then he ended up being flat-footed? I don't think he's saving the header anyway. If he stays on his line, it's quite a powerful header and it's in the corner. Mm-hmm. But it's that indecision what maybe cost us.
Do you know what it is? I might be being harsh here as well, but Trippier's one of the smallest people on the pitch.
Yeah, so how did he end up on the back post?
Yeah, how was he on the back post? And it's like,
if you watch the person's run though, they come around, don't they, from the centre to the back. Mm-hmm. But like I said, when it was their centre back, wasn't it? When he makes his run, Trippier's just watching him. So he follows his run with him. He's not watching the ball. And then Trippier ends up running past the ball where their man attacking it is watching the flight of the ball and gets himself in the perfect position.
Yeah.
And that's the issue for me, is that don't watch the man, watch the ball. You know, I think Trippier could have been ahead of him and cleared it, because he had to stoop to head it as well, didn't he? It wasn't exactly like he was jumping and powerful header. He stooped and headed it. And if Trippier, because he was in front of his man, had he not run past it, he could have easily cleared that if he was watching the ball.
I mean, look, Trippier, I can't remember if it was in the first half or the second half, but Trippier misplaced a pass and he put his head up in the air and shook his head.
Yeah. He knows he was having a bit of a mare.
He knew he was having a mare. And look, it's not down to ability or he's finished or out like that.
No,
we know what
not.
we've got. We know how good he is. I get frustrated at players when I know they're really flaming good, but he needs pulling out. Honestly, he needs a rest. Plain and simple. He's getting caught now. He's misplacing passes. And do you know what it is? If you would have told me 3 weeks ago, I would be more comfortable watching Dan Burn defend at the minute than Trevor. I wouldn't have believed. But I do. I feel more comfortable watching Dan Burn at the minute.
Do you know what it is? I mean, Lee's giving a thumbs down for Trippier and Burn. I don't think Burn was that bad yesterday. I know he got burned. Right. I mean, for pace.
He wasn't one of the worst.
But he wasn't
one of the worst. I think he was all right. He settled in the game better. But, I mean, it's like a Trippier bashing show here, but like I'm not having a go at him because I do love him. He's one of my favourite players, but he was poor yesterday for me.
Yeah.
From minute one to the end of the game.
I'm astonished, right? I've just logged into Sky to have a look at what Atletico Madrid are doing, right? And I had a bet on with Rangers to win. They were losing, and they won 2-1 in the 93rd minute. The 90th minute and the 93rd minute. See, I was very clever because the Brighton game, I froze it and it finished 1-1. This new Sky thing's quite cool. So I froze it at 1-0. So if Atletico Madrid win tonight, I'll win a cool £53. That'd be nice.
Wow.
Let's see if they win. They probably won't now after seeing all that. Everyone knows Burn doesn't have the pace, Lee. We know that. But if you take out the times that he was burned, right, and then look at his general all-round game on the night, he was actually all right. But yeah, Shaw was brilliant for me. He covered so many times. Don't forget to vote for your man of the match because it might surprise you who I pick. Trippier's passing being off against Dortmund and Wolves. He looks like he needs a rest and should play Tino midweek. I think he will. We'll come to that later though. Mike Ashley to Reading. Oh God, please. Just
that's true.
He shouldn't be allowed in football ever again.
That is absolutely 100% true.
Oh God.
His helicopter was spotted in Reading. That's how they got the story.
Do you lads think Eddie should have made more subs earlier in the second half?
I do.
Yeah, but looking at the bench though, it's I think we'll answer that question a bit later on. Let's just finish with the action and then we'll get to these questions because there's some good questions coming in. Trips needs a long rest. I tell Southgate he's got the flu when the break comes along. That's not a bad idea, but he loves playing for his country, doesn't he? No prizes for guessing my man in the match. I know exactly who it is. So they equalise. It's a very fortuitous penalty, isn't it? I mean, I'm not saying it's not a penalty because it's very hard for the referee to change VAR to change the referee's decision because there is contact. But if that's in the other penalty area given against us, I would be fuming because he does stop himself from kicking through him. And Shaw is very clever to cut across him and he initiated the contact. But because he gave the penalty, VAR finds it very hard to rule it out because there is contact. But it's very soft, isn't it?
I was 50-50 at the time, I remember. I think I'm still unsure even now. There is contact, but it's minimal. Yeah. And Shaw was very clever. If it's at the other end, I'm blowing a gasket and basically saying that's not a penalty. So I get why Wolves were like a bit ticked off by it. When I went on Twitter to see everybody else's opinion, it was funny because some people were saying no chance of penalty and others were saying Stonewall blatantly, and it was 50-50 to be honest. And it was, look, I've seen them giving and I've seen them having given. Liverpool got one at the beginning of the season, very similar. And you just need to come a rule. Look, just make a simple rule in football. If there's contact, doesn't matter how much it is it a penalty or not? Minimal contact, just see is it a penalty or not? And if they put a rule in, look, minimal contact, if you touch the player, it's a penalty. There you go. But we don't know. We don't know what the rules are.
I know it's a nightmare, isn't it? We're coming to that, Lee. Don't you worry. I mean, I'm happy we got the penalty, obviously, because Wilson tucks it away just with a help from the keeper's hand. Very lucky the keeper didn't get a stronger hand onto it because he nearly kept it out. But yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It was never a pen, let's be honest. Like I say, Phil, it's tough because there is contact and the referee's seen it as contact. Shaw's made a meal of it, but how many times has Rashford made a meal of it when someone's cut across him and slightly touched him, and other players have done the exact same thing, and then everyone says it's a penalty. We say it's not, and then we get grief for saying it's not a penalty, and then when it happens to us, everyone's like, that's not a penalty, VAR's a disgrace. You know, you cannot win, can you?
No, you cannot. It's like, just come out with a rule. It's simple. And like I said, I'm still different. I mean, I get why people think it's not penalty because part of my brain's saying it's not penalty. And it's just like, it's one of those. And I remember at the time, I thought it was a penalty. Then when I saw the replays, I saw contact. But as the angles changed, they went with a different angle as well. And that angle, I tell you what, that didn't look like a penalty at all when you went with a different angle. And it was, I think Shaw was very clever. Do I think he dived? No. Do I think it was contact? Yes. But I wouldn't have, if it hadn't been given, I wouldn't have been standing up like throwing something at the telly because I wasn't sure. I stood there and I thought this could go anywhere. It really couldn't. I get why Wolves fans were a bit peed off. Like I get why Gary O'Neill was peed off with it. Happens to us. I'm probably a little knocked as well. But
I would have been knocked, to be honest with you.
He swung at the ball, right?
He does actually get the ball as well. If you watch it, he actually gets the ball with his standing foot. It actually hits his left foot, but his right foot, you can see him starting to wanting to hook it away, but then he stops himself from going through with it. It's such a tough one.
If I tell you one thing, look, the one thing I do know is was the intent from their player to take him down? No, he was trying to clear the ball. Right? Now, he had no intention of fouling Shaw. He was trying to clear it. So, was that classed as a penalty or not? I don't know. I've got no idea what the rules. And like I said, I get why people think it's not a penalty. I really do. It's a tough one for me. That's one decision where I looked and I went, I wouldn't like to make the final decision on this one. And it was just one of those. But it was a penalty. And you know what it is? They were going on about how lucky Wilson was. But if you watch the penalty, he put it at a height, right? And he sort of put it in the middle of the goal, just in the middle. So basically, he knew the keeper was going to dive anyway. And he had to put his hand back. So it wasn't as bad a penalty as I think people said it was. If it had been, I mean, I'm talking about if it had been 3 inches a bit further along, the keeper saves that. So it wasn't his best penalty, but I think he hit it.
He's hit it well enough.
Yeah,
and
he's hit
the
it.
keeper's dived past it, and he's got a good hand to it. But I think even if the keeper saves it, it comes back to Wilson and he scores anyway. To be honest with you, yeah, it's tough. But we played 2 very taxing games in at Wolves, only one, and we still looked fitter than them at the end. Well said, Jim. And I mean, we always draw at Wolves. The draw was on the cards every time. I think the last 3 years we've drawn at Wolves, haven't we? It's crazy. We've got to obviously talk about the equaliser because Wolves were in the ascendancy. They were on us. They sort of deserved the equaliser in a way. We didn't control the game as well as we would have liked to have done. Neto was causing so many problems down the right, down the left. He was brilliant, and I feel sorry for him with his hamstring injury. But the cross comes in. It's deep. I've had so many arguments with people on Twitter over this. Pope rushes out and punches it with nobody around him. Within a yard either side of him, there's nobody around him. If he catches that ball and it slips, I still think he can recover. So why, when Pope is taken the ball so well in the game, because he took them into his gut a lot, he caught a few, why has he decided to punch in the last 10 minutes? And he has punched it a decent distance. Don't get me wrong. There's still a lot for them to do to score from there. How he got past 2 players, why did Sean Longstaff dive in and dive past the player and then let him score? You know, there are mistakes, but it comes from a bigger mistake where if Pope catches the ball and falls on it, like all the top goalkeepers do, take the sting out of the game, take a bit of extra time out of the game, that goal doesn't happen. And I love Pope, and it's not a Pope bashing or anything like that. It's just we've got an opinion and we have to talk about a mistake, what we think is a mistake that potentially cost us the 2 points.
It's a good job I wasn't on the watch along last night. I exploded. Like, literally. Why? I mean, I've calmed down a bit now, but why he didn't catch that pissing ball still to this day, till now, I've got no idea. I'll tell you what, I've watched it 3, 4, 5 times. He comes out, it's perfect for catching. I've watched some knackers at Newcastle who would catch that ball. You name a goalkeeper who wouldn't catch that ball in the Premier League.
Shaka would have, Given would have,
all
Harper
of them.
would have.
Tim Krul's catching that. I'll tell you who else is catching that. Dubravka's catching that, and Carriers is catching that. So why he's punching it in is beyond me. He catches that goal doesn't go in. Plain and simple. Exactly. Forget about. Do you know what it is? The defenders probably needed a bit more composure, right? But it was rush of the mill minute. They knew Pope had made a mistake, and it was one of those. If Pope had caught that ball in the first place, that goal doesn't go in. Do we win the game? I don't know. It's all lips and butts for that.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, that goal doesn't happen. If he does what a goalkeeper should do. Now, he did it on Wednesday now against Dortmund, where a simple ball came in and he went like that. When I'm thinking, can you not catch a football? And he's a great shot stopper, probably one of the best, but the rest of his game's shit.
Yeah.
Shit. And
Peter nails it on the head there as well, doesn't he? This is why he's not
exactly. Look, Southgate is a knacker. We all know that, right? But Southgate's dropped him for England. Why? Why Southgate got rid of him? Just out of the blue, he's gone. And I'm getting to the stage now where, you know what it is, last season, he had a good season, but did he have a good season because our back four was so freaking good? I don't know. I could be being harsh on him, yeah. But would I keep him? Yes. Is he a number one for me next season? Absolutely not.
He's only not a number one if we sign someone. That's the thing.
For me, we need to get a replacement. And look, people will say I'm wrong. I get that. People will say I'm right. But you can't kick a football, right? Against PSG, he was playing rugby when he kicked it out 3 or 4 times in a row when he was trying to
drove me nuts.
Yeah, it drove me nuts. He tried to punch. Look, he made a cracking save on Wednesday too. And this is not what I'm saying. Pope is one of the best shot stoppers in the league. I get that. But to be a top keeper to take you to the next level, you have to have more than shot stopper. And I just, do you know what is still right now? I don't know why he didn't catch that frigging ball. It was perfect. It was perfect catching for him.
Mm.
What's he? Is he going to blame the rain or something? I'm sorry. Watch the goalkeepers the day in the Manchester derby, and oh, yeah.
He's injured apparently though.
Is he?
Yeah. Which is good for next Wednesday if he's injured for long enough.
Well, yeah, he is. Look, Nick Pope's a good goalkeeper, but if we want to get,
he's a great shot stopper, but it's always been, and we said this before he even signed. We said his distribution would be the issue if we want to play off from the back.
Go and ask Burnley fans, right? Burnley fans will tell you he was there for years. You know what it is? At the time, I knew this at the time, but the Burnley fans were saying, you've got a great goalkeeper, but he can't catch a ball and he can't kick it. Right? That's what they said, but he's a great goalkeeper. And that's exactly what happens. And you know what it is? I can sort of put up with his kicking, right? Because just give the ball to somebody else. But when it comes to catching a football, that's his job.
Yeah.
That's what he's supposed to do. Now he can shot stop, so why can't he cut? Like I say, he did on Dortmund. He did it against Dortmund as well. And I was screaming. And I said to the kids and that in the White House, he's going to do that this season sometime. And it's going to lead to a goal, and that's it. I didn't expect it 3 days later, but that's exactly what happened. Yeah, well, competition might do that, because at the minute, he's got, Eddie doesn't trust anybody. Now, Pope will probably start on Wednesday. And I just wish he could catch a ball like Dubravka and kick like Dubravka, because that's what Dubravka's better at him than. He's not as good at shot stopping, but when it comes to stuff like that,
you can't see Eddie on the touchline getting angry with him at times, especially in the Dortmund game.
Eddie was paid off last night, mind. I could see it in his face. He was annoyed, and I think he wasn't annoyed at the players' effort and stuff like that, or misplaced passes. He was annoyed at that because I think he thought, now you should have got that. And I think he would have got told after the game. Eddie will not come out and slate his players. He never will.
No, of course he won't. He never does that.
He will have told him. He'll have said, look, you need to start catching them or you're out the team for a bit, because I'm sorry, like he's done it a few times now, and he's frustrated. I mean, he's frustrating me at the minute. That goalkeeper, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he's frustrating. You know what it is? This weekend against Arsenal, he'll probably make a fantastic save.
Yeah.
At some point he's gonna have 3 or 4 man of the matches again, he'll be great. But there's always that doubt in the back. And look, he'll be here for the rest of the season, but seriously, look, it's not essential. We need other positions more than him, but at some point in the next 2 years, we need to upgrade it, because he's going to make mistakes. And yesterday was a big one for me. Has he cost the team 3 points? Like I said, I don't know, but it was just poor, really poor. And I don't think it's been mentioned enough on the media or anything like that. I haven't mentioned it much.
Yeah, I mean, like the newspapers, you know, I don't know whether the Pope's a no-go to wind up. I don't know. It's a bit strange, isn't it? Because normally
I think it was Jordan Cronin. He mentioned it. He said Pope should be catching that ball. And I've seen a few other accounts, like high-up accounts, they've said the same thing. He should be catching that ball, not punching it. And it's just, look, Eddie will have told him. And if he does it again in the next few weeks, I mean, seriously, like, you could look, Dubravka's not a bad goalkeeper. He isn't. He's not.
He's a very good goalkeeper.
He's a very good goalkeeper. And Karius isn't as bad as people make out he is either. So it's
he's very good as well.
No. And I tell you what, Dubravka and Karius can do. They can kick a football, both of them. So it's like, I'm getting to the stage, if he keeps making mistakes like this, pull in for a couple of games and all, just so he knows that you can't keep doing
that.
He
can't be dropped.
Yeah, you can't be dropped. You're not undroppable. And it's like, I think that comment before is spot on. He needs competition for me. Like a lightning rod up his arse. Oh, shit, if I don't perform, he's coming in here. Because it was just, I just thought, that tells me you've got no confidence whatsoever at catching that ball. none whatsoever. You haven't got the confidence you're going to catch that. And that's worrying for a goalkeeper for me. Schmeichel, I know Schmeichel was world class. Schmeichel's taken all the players out and catching that football.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. All top goalkeepers would have, like we've said.
Every one of them. I mean, you name a goalkeeper apart. I mean, I know people are going to say Pickford, but you name a goalkeeper who won't catch that ball.
Even short arms is, to be fair, he's still catching that and falling on it and taking time out of the game, which is what we needed at that point.
Giroud was in goal for Milan the other week, and he was catching balls like that. And he's a freaking striker. So it's like, no, it was shit. Honestly, and it cost with a goal, plain and simple.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. My friends got logged in at last. Thank God for that. Baffles me when Karius isn't on loan in the Championship getting game time. He has so much potential as a world-class number 2 to keep Pope on his toes. I guess he's not on loan because we want him around our squad. Do we want 3 top goalkeepers just in case, I guess? I don't know. Would you want to go out on loan? I don't think he would, to be honest with you. 5 fullbacks on the bench for Wolves, none on the current fit under 21s good enough to cover our positions on the bench. I don't think there's not a lot of talent in our under 21 squad, to be completely honest with you, who are ready to step up into a Premier League game away to Wolves. And I know that sounds shit to say, but Miley's probably the only one who is, and he's obviously got laryngitis, so Ian coming in.
I think the only I got the bench yesterday because we're depleted. I think the only player I can think of who could make the bench is Alex Murphy.
Yeah.
Everybody.
He's injured.
Is he? Oh,
yeah. There you go. That's why he's not involved as well.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Neto showed.
How many injuries have we got?
Too many. Neto showed how to be an inverted winger. Him and Chan are what our wide players should be more direct. I'd take Neto over any of our wingers. 7 assists and 2 goals running at defences. He's brilliant. Gordon will get there as well, though. Gordon is what like Neto does. He likes to cut inside. He likes to go at players. Just give him a chance. Any follow of the game knows that was an almighty clanger. I've been thinking that for a couple of weeks now, Jody. Off topic, anything about Toni Kroos and Chiesa from Juve? I've not heard anything, to be honest with you. I can't see Toni Kroos coming, to be honest with you. But,
the one-time Kroos.
Yeah. Same here. Salt, as Gary said, needs to realise he is not beyond getting dropped. A couple more comments. Livermore and Hall should have come on. Trips on the defence looked absolutely knackered. We'll come to that a little bit later on, Peter. We are going to talk about that. What position does Daryl Stevenson play? I heard a lot of chat about him. I don't think he's ready.
Forward.
I don't think he's ready. Barry, they're a year apart. Gordon is 22. Neto is 23. Gordon is quality, though. Gordon's having a great season for us already, and he's going to be even better, Chris. Just give him a chance. He's just starting to show his potential now.
I mean, look, Neto yesterday was tremendous.
I think if he doesn't get injured, I think he's had a better team.
Oh, without a doubt. He
had a really bad injury. He's just come back and now he's pulled his hamstring, and that hamstring could be out for quite a while.
I mean, this is nothing against Miggy, right? But I had visions of Gordon on the left and him on the right. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I didn't realise Neto was that good. He's went above Trippier for assists as well, so he's on 7 assists. So I didn't realise how quality he really is, but that hamstring is going to look at Willock. You know what it is? It could be near the end of the season before he returns. And that's a massive blow for Wolves because he was the best player on the park yesterday, by a mile. And I remember looking when he went down, felt sorry for him, but I thought, God, I'm like, just what we needed.
Yeah, we'll come to it, John. I promise you, we're going to talk about it. The last little bit is we could have won the game. We carved open an amazing opportunity. It was great play by Bruno. He got it out to the right-hand side, found Trippier, and Trippier did deliver a beautiful ball to the back post. We had free waiting, and Shaw heads it wide. That was the chance. That was the big chance that we wanted at the end of the game, and we just didn't capitalise on it.
No. I know it was a chance.
It was well worked, though.
Oh, it was well worked, but we just didn't do enough of it yesterday. And when Neto went off, the game changed. It swung
Oh, massively. I mean,
massively.
we looked like we were
because
the
they
only
couldn't
one
get
who was
the
going to
ball off.
win the game.
They were struggling, and as the game went on, we looked like we were getting stronger. The problem is the game was going on, we were just lacking that Isak up front type thing. It was just, I just think there was a few things missing. I think, look, put it this way, if we had a few more of our players fit, I think we'll win that game.
Yeah, I think we got enough subs to handle what we had.
I mean, because you bring Tonali on, you bring Barnes on, you bring whoever, Isak, if they're injured, you bring them on, and then it changes. But it is what it is. I thought it was a good point.
It is a good point. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy with the point.
But I'm just a bit frustrated because of Nick Pope. I mean, look, we might not win the game. I don't know.
I'm frustrated because that's 2 games where we've been 3 games now. We've been ahead, and then we've ended up drawing or losing. That's what frustrates me a little bit. West Ham, Liverpool, now this one. A bit annoying, to be fair. These were the stats from the game. Again, it shows both sides were a little bit wasteful with the chances. 13 for us, only 5 on target, 11 for them, 6 on target. Possession was 57 to 43. We outpassed them by 100 and odd passes. Our passing accuracy was 86 to their 82. But again, like I say, that our top players didn't quite perform, which is the reason why we ended up drawing the game. But Mr. Callum Wilson, scoring 2 goals, is now 3rd on the list of all-time goal scorers in the Premier League. Again, Premier League stats football stats only started when the Premier League started, apparently, but it's still nice to see Callum Wilson banging in those goals. He's been through the Bruce stage, and he's now reaping his rewards, staying with us under Eddie Howe. Can he stay fit enough, though, Gary?
I hope so. I really do. No, I don't think he can. But as long as we can get him. I think, unfortunately, we've got Man United next. We've got Arsenal at home, right? And I think we've got some big teams coming at home in the next few weeks. So
yeah,
I was hoping if we were playing a few, like the lower teams, we could be 3 out after 60 minutes and you can bring them off.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for against Wolves, that we were 2-3-0 up and then you can make some subs.
But I love Callum. I love Callum Wilson. I think he's a quality player. He's a quality striker. He's a finisher. You don't get many of them around. But the problem is we can't rely on Isak and Wilson to stay fit. We need another striker. Right. Would I keep Wilson? 100%. 100%.
I would, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we need 3 strikers to be.
We need 3 strikers because Isak and Wilson are 2 injury. Look, I mean, touch wood, but we'll probably be talking in 2 weeks' time, seeing that Anthony Gordon's starting up front because it's just Wilson, isn't it? I mean, he has a one for you. Would you play Wilson on Wednesday?
Yes.
Yes.
I want us to destroy Man United on Wednesday. But
and then play off.
That's going to be the issue. You've got to hope you get ahead quickly and then maybe make some subs or something. Yeah, that's a good point, Phil. Leslie's saying, because I finished the poll and it's 70% for Shaw, who was everyone's man in the match. I thought he was superb. He's covering a Dan Burn when Neto and Semedo and the likes of them were burning past him. He covered absolutely brilliantly. Do you think Wilson will? This is the question. Will he break down or will he not? It's only time will tell. There's a chance he will. But I think we've got to take that risk. I think we've got to go at Man United on Wednesday night. But this is a chance maybe for someone in the 21s. You mentioned Darryl Stevenson. You might throw him in. We just don't know what Eddie Howe's going to do. We'll wait for his press conference and see what he says.
There's not much. Look, I'll joke and say there's not much he can do. I mean,
the only other thing I think he can do is maybe give Willock a start on the left, play Gordon as a false 9, potentially, maybe play him up front instead. There's an option. Might play Joe Linton up front, even though I never want to see him play up front again. But there are some options, but they're not world-class options are there in that area where you think, all right, he's going to bang in a brace, and win us a game.
It just shows you, though, that what a shit stain Mike Ashley left for his team in. That we can't rely on. I know Miley's injured, but we can't rely on any of our youngsters to come in and do a job for a couple of weeks. And it's like the sooner. I mean, the owners have done. Look, I'm not saying this. The owners have done fantastic with the youth system since they come in. They've bought some quality youngsters, but. Do you know what is? You know what is? Somebody mentioned this to me the other day. Not the other day, sorry. Yesterday, last night.
Mhm.
And I said 3 weeks ago, no, right? But with injuries at the minute, I would be tempted to get that young kid from Feyenoord here in January, if there's a possibility.
To end his loan early.
Yeah, and he's loan.
Matete.
I wasn't a fan of that, right? But we're at the stage now where we're struggling, and that meant he is a quality player. So he might be exactly what we need. He is a winger, obviously, but he has played up front before. So that's something I think they're probably looking at right now.
It's definitely on the cards now. I wouldn't mind that at all. Very quickly, but we've got 15 minutes left. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up button. There it is, thumbs up. Really helps. Don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Daddy Crow, Baz20 for 20% off all these amazing t-shirts. And don't forget, Newcastle Benfield are playing on the 4th of November. Get yourselves down there and support them. A great non-league team, and they play some lovely football. Scored some great goals this season. And if you want one of these metal-coated powdered badges, register your interest by dropping me an email, please. And if we get enough people who want one, we will make them for you one last time. I want to get to the questions in the chat and try and get through as many as we can in the next 15 minutes. Obviously, the point was a great point. Is it time to pay Dortmund for Moukoko? He's not playing and we need a young striker. Yes or no, Gary?
1,000%.
Ooh, 1,000%, yes.
Very, very good young player. But I think he might be injured at the minute.
Yeah, I think I heard that as well, to be fair.
Yeah, he's quality.
He's not playing.
They've looked at him before for that comment. I have watched him a number of times. And I think he's been, look, I know this sounds ridiculous, right? But people are saying like very Lukaku type, sorry. Like, I know he's not built like that, but that type of striker that could be at that level goes off. I know Lukaku dropped off, but in the early ages, Lukaku was classed as literally one of the best youngsters in the world for a long time. And he's a quality player. He's faster now. So that could be, I think that's what the owners are going to look at. I think they're going to have a young striker on the rise who can come in, not be fazed by the Premiership, but is not going to cost a fortune. And I wouldn't be surprised for him because I forgot all about it, but they've watched him. And he's got massive talent. And
let's not go into that, Lee.
Oh, yeah,
let's not talk about him. Aguero was 5'8" and he scored loads of goals. He did. To be fair, he was a beast. There's loads of chats coming. I want to try and get back to some of the comments that we had earlier before and get through as much as we can. What do you make of Eddie not putting his trust in Livramento, Lewis Hall, them not coming off the bench yesterday? It kind of baffles me a little bit. I mean, we know they're good enough, but does Eddie Howe not think they're ready, potentially? Or does he not think they were good enough to change the game? Yeah. Maybe that was his thinking.
It's the first time I've ever agreed with what Luke Edwards said when Luke Edwards come out and said that Eddie Howe's got £60 million worth of talent at the bench that he doesn't seem to trust to come on for 15 minutes in a game, 10 minutes, when the game's tight. And I'm finding it a little, Hall, not so much. Livramento, I'm finding it a bit bizarre. why he's not getting more minutes.
The thing for me, though, is you're taking Trips off, though, aren't you? And I know
Well,
Trips hasn't been playing well, but Trips is the one who put that great cross in, which Shaw really should have punished Wolves with. And if Livermento's on the pitch, does that actually happen? So it's a tough one for me, unless he plays on right wing.
Well,
which he can play right wing, can't he?
Yeah, he's played there. Hall, look, from what I've seen of Hall, and from what I've heard from Chelsea fans, Hall is one of the best youngsters in the country.
Yeah.
Now Chelsea were gutted he's left, but and this is the one thing that paid me off a bit with Hall was the poor lad got thrown into a game against the number one side in the world, and we had a depleted side out at the time because he was resting players. He played 45 minutes and he took them off, and we've never seen him since. Now, surely these two lads that we paid £30-odd million for can come on for 5 to 10 minutes and do a job. I refuse to believe they can't. Hall's an attacking player. He's a fast, quick attacking player. He's got a great left foot on him. Don't play him at left back. You know what I think the problem is with Lewis Hall? I think we thought he was coming in as a left back. I think Eddie's brought him in as a centre midfielder or a left winger.
Yeah.
I think that's the plan with him. And he's trying to get him up to scratch, but it's like, seriously, it's getting to the stage now where how much time does he need? I mean, look, Livermento showed enough against Man City to tell me that I don't care if he has to come in at left back, right back, or right wing. I would trust him to come in and do a job for that club right now.
Yeah.
And if a player's needed to come out, Trippier yesterday looked shattered to me.
Yeah.
And I was counting for him to come up at half time because we've got a replacement on the bench for Trippier. If we had Manquillo, for example, then I get it a bit more. But not when you've got somebody of his quality on the bench. I mean, you got man of the match against Man City, for Christ's sake. And it's like, what more can the kid do? And he was brilliant against Man City. Absolutely brilliant. And Lewis Hall just... Lewis Hall needs to play Dagenham at home. Because Eddie will trust him to go in against Dagenham. He can go put in a good performance and then there you go. But it's like, I don't know about Lewis Hall, whether he'll start during the week. Livermento will, but Hall, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take with him. One thing I will say is if Hall's going to just spend his time at the bench, then I would send him out and low. Yeah. It's pointless him just sitting here warming the bench.
No, it is.
He needs game time, like Ashby. Like Ashby's getting, and yeah, I've heard Ashby is playing well for Swansea because Harrison Ashby's a good footballer. Yeah. He's a very good footballer.
I chased him long enough, so he must be something there with him.
Yeah, he is. He's a good player, and he's a committed player. He's got bottle, and it's like, we'll see what happens. Wednesday's a big one for me because we'll see what he does with the team.
Yeah.
And
I reckon there'll be a lot of changes, but we'll have to come on that on a different day.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to mention, the reason why I think our passing was off a little bit was the weather. And I know it's really weird to say that though, but it was lashing down. And if you watch a lot of our passes into midfield and into feet, they were short nearly every time. And that's because of the thickness of it sounds daft, but the ground was that wet, it was almost starting to get waterlogged a little bit. And I think our crisp passing, it didn't suit that kind of weather. It didn't suit Shaw's diagonal balls either, because as soon as the ball was hitting the deck, it was skidding off. And I think and I know it sounds daft because footballers should adapt, but I think the weather played a lot in how we didn't control the game as well as we could have. And why Trips was a little bit reluctant to pass the ball to Lascelles at times, because his touch isn't great sometimes.
That tells me, I think you're right. I think the weather's playing a big part in Newcastle's play at the minute. The one thing I will say is though, then players need to learn how to adapt to this. Yeah. They need to learn, because I watched it. Look, forget about they're the best team in the world. I get it. It was peeing down at Old Trafford today. Man City was superb.
They were.
player passing, and
Yeah.
that was pissing down from the heavens. And we need to adapt to this. We've got good players. We've got
Their passing was crisp. The one thing that I noticed that it was starting to annoy a lot of the players on the pitch was Wilson's hold-up play.
Yeah,
because he was every time he controlled the ball well, he then held on to it too long, and then when he controlled it poorly, it was a bit like an elephant touch, and he was getting intercepted. But I noticed he seemed to enjoy the wrestling.
Yeah.
But then when he did his job, he just didn't release it quick enough.
He doesn't wrestle like Shearer did, right?
No one does.
The thing, look, Blade's 100% right when he said this the other day, when he said, if you play Callum Wilson, I know we couldn't do that. Jacob Murphy has to play because Wilson is a striker. He wants crosses in the box to keep up. When Isaac
early balls.
it's a different ball game. That's why at times, look, it's no coincidence to me that I think Gordon was quiet yesterday. Probably his quietest game of the season. I thought Miggy had a good start, but then faded.
Yeah.
And you had Gordon, Miggy, and Wilson, but the wingers were quiet. And the ball kept going up the striker, and it just kept coming back at times because Wilson needs wingers, like out-and-out wingers. This inverted stuff doesn't seem to work. But it just shows you how good Wilson is, because even though he wasn't great, Don Woodman said yesterday, I'm going to give man of the match to Wilson, even though he wasn't the best player on the pitch. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like Wilson, he's such a threat because he's a finisher. Even though he can't, he's not the best at his hold-up play. But what they've got to do is if a player's not very good at something, you just don't do it to them. Now, stop playing a ball to Wilson where he's got to stand up and hold people off. He's not good at that. So give it to the wingers and tell the wingers to try and get as many crosses in as possible. And
the thing is, though, there was times in the game where we needed him to be strong and to hold on to the ball because we're under pressure. And sometimes you can't help all that.
That's where we need next season for me. It all depends on what Eddie wants to play, right? If Eddie wants to play like a fast pace, because you couldn't get much more different than Wilson and Isak, to be honest. So it depends what he wants to do. Does he want another Isak like Osimhen, who's going to run the channels, do this, do that, do this, run here? Or does he want another Callum Wilson and go out and get an Evan Ferguson or a Benjamin Sesko, who's going to hold the ball up and lay it off? So Eddie's got to make a decision on the next striker he buys, how he wants to play. Because
he always said he liked having Wood there because he had 3 different strikers that did 3 different jobs, and you could do horses for courses. We're not getting even Ferguson. Let's just put that out of the bed straight away, because Brighton have said they won't sell him for 4 years, and he's a Man United fan, and he probably wants to go there if Man United are doing well. So I can't see that happening. Sesko, I could.
Do that one.
Last question from Burns is, because we've hit the hour now. Can Tino, or has he ever played as a right winger?
Yeah,
I think he has played as a right winger, hasn't he?
No, not very often, but he has. Yes,
he has. Yeah. One last question, because there is a good one here somewhere. There it is.
I think Tino Livramento is very similar to Aaron Hughes, and he can play in a number of positions.
Steve Watson.
And so he can play left back, he can play right back. I think he's good enough to play up. He's not an out-and-out winger. He's not going to run down the wing and put crosses in or cut in like Miggy is or Gordon. But he can do a job for you. And he's a quality player. But his best position is right back. But
he can play there very fast. Do you think we've got the money in January? I think we have after this Adidas deal. There's a few betting companies now got involved, which I find really funny. The stacks getting built. There's sponsorship there. The Saudi Airlines has come in as well. So, yes, I think the money's there.
Look, think what you like about Luke. Look, everybody knows what I think of Luke. But even Luke said last week that Newcastle have drumming up plans for January because the injuries are too bad.
Yeah.
So they've had to change their plans. So I don't think it's going to be one of those in January where Newcastle wait till the end of the month to see how things go.
Yeah.
I think if they've got somebody in plan, I could see it happening within the first week because the injuries are horrendous.
They are.
Isak's not back in November. Barnes is out of January.
Barnes could be earlier, I've heard. Potentially.
well,
Could be December. Let's wait and see on that one, though.
Obviously, Tonali's out. Murphy's out for a while. Isak, I've just said Isak. Botman, I mean, I don't know. Eddie keeps saying he's nearly fit, but then he's not. And he's had a setback, apparently. So that one, I don't know. He's away. He's probably the closest out of them all.
Yeah.
But the injuries are just too much. And you know what it is? In the next few weeks, we're going to pick more up. Because then players are just going to have to play every minute of every game. And they're just, it's getting to this. I mean, Miley's out. His brother's out now.
Yeah.
Jamie
I saw that.
Injury, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, honestly.
Lee, there's a draw at 10 o'clock on the next show. That's when the next draw for it's this month's draw for the T-shirt. I'm going to be doing it on the next show. The last thing I want to just pop up on the screen very quickly is Ruben Neves has come out and said it's his dream to play for Newcastle. What a load of shite. But we'll take him. Don't get me wrong.
Take him right now.
We'll have him, but that is a load of crap.
I'm just going off what Nelly said on that one to me last week, and she said it's not happening.
All right. Oh, well, there we go then.
Anybody who doesn't know Nelly's what she lived Saudi Arabian and shit. So she knows obviously the leagues. Neymar's just had an injury at his football club, and apparently he's not going anywhere. But
damn it.
Well, the thing with PIF is you don't know. PIF made the decision. I mean, they won both football clubs, so PIF will decide.
Of course they will.
I'll tell you what, don't be surprised one day if it happens, like one player comes. Well, who that is, I don't know. I saw somebody the other day say we'll take Benzema for 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, could you imagine? I would love that. Anyway, right, that's the end of the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am back in an hour's time with John from across the pond. We will do the draw for the T-shirt. So all you members, tune in to see if you win or not. We'll get the draw done early in it because I know obviously people have got work tomorrow. Mickey put a great but yes, he did, and no one got on the end of it.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I said to the missus when he did that, I went, look, he can use his right foot.
Yeah, he can. It is there, guys. Use it more often. Yeah,
because it was a good cross, and I went to that. I said to myself, where was a bloody nobody on it?
Because no one expected him to hit him with his right foot.
Nobody expected it.
Exactly.
There you go.
Right. So I'm back at 10 o'clock. Gaz is going to have to be back on Tuesday night on his own unless he finds a guest for the look ahead to the Man United game on the Wednesday night because I'm on night shift. And I think Gaz will be doing the watch along on Wednesday as well because I might be visiting my parents as a surprise. But it depends because I finished night shift on Wednesday morning, which means I'll be knackered. We can loan anyone, mate, Chris, but I don't know who it's going to be. But I've really got to go back at 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and great comments. And we'll hope to see you in the chat again and ask all those questions, and we'll get as many answered as we can. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon. Ta-da.